5 months ago, you couldn't say even one full sentence in English without freezing, doubting yourself, and feeling like your dream life was too far away. You were smart, capable, full of ideas, but trapped behind an invisible wall made of words you couldn't speak and fears you couldn't escape. That wall wasn't just language, it was lost confidence, wasted chances, and every silent moment where you wished you could express who you truly are. Today, you're about to learn how I broke that same wall in only 5 months, without expensive classes or living in an English-speaking country, because this story isn't only mine, it belongs to anyone who's ever felt stuck, embarrassed, or afraid to speak English out loud with confidence. I know exactly how it feels when your mind is full of thoughts, but your mouth refuses to cooperate, leaving you silent and frustrated. I know the pain of pretending to understand while people talk fast, smiling politely, but dying inside because you can't join the conversation. That was me, until the day everything changed. A single interview shattered my illusion and became the turning point of my entire life. I had dreamed of working for a global tech company, writing code with brilliant people, and building a future that made my parents proud. After years of effort, the email finally arrived. "Congratulations, Jake, you're selected for an interview." My heart exploded with excitement and hope. I imagined my new life abroad, speaking English confidently, earning well, traveling freely. I thought success was just one interview away. But when the video call began, 3 native speakers appeared, and their voices hit me like rapid waves I couldn't surf or even stay afloat on. "Jake, can you tell us about yourself?" one of them asked kindly. My heart raced, but my words came out broken, empty, meaningless. "I am software. I do coding." "Very good." I stuttered. Their smiles froze. The silence between us was louder than any rejection letter. That moment destroyed me, not because I lacked skill, but because I lacked English. My dream collapsed in seconds, and I couldn't stop replaying it. That night, I didn't sleep. I stared at the ceiling thinking, I lost not because I was stupid, but because I couldn't communicate my talent. It was the most painful lesson of my life, but also the most powerful. Because pain, if used right, can become the fuel for transformation. So I made a decision. I would master English completely, no matter how hard, no matter how long, and I would do it my own way. I didn't want boring grammar books or endless vocabulary lists. I wanted real results, real speaking ability, real confidence that no one could take away. Most learners chase new words, but I realized I didn't need more knowledge. I needed activation. I had to make English live inside my brain. So I built my own 5-month system. Not magic, not luck, just science, repetition, emotion, and complete immersion in daily life. The first 15 days were not about learning more. They were about unlearning, breaking wrong habits, and retraining my brain to think in English. I started with a survival list, 50 sentences I would need every day, from ordering coffee to introducing myself or asking someone to repeat. Every morning, I said them out loud 10 times. At first, my tongue felt heavy, but soon the rhythm became natural, automatic, alive. After 5 days, something amazing happened. The sentences flowed without thought. It felt like my brain had switched to a faster frequency. Then I began speaking to myself in English constantly. No audience, no fear. While cooking, walking, showering, I described everything I did. "I'm cutting vegetables. The smell is great. I'm boiling water. I'm ready to eat." It sounded funny, but it trained my brain like a muscle. This was my private classroom. No teacher, no judgment, only practice. And practice built progress faster than any expensive English course. After 1 week, I started dreaming in English. My mind stopped translating. That was the moment I realized English was becoming part of me. Next came pronunciation. I used the echo method. I listened to native speakers, paused after each line, and repeated exactly the same rhythm and tone. It was a beautiful day, so I decided to go for a walk. 10 times, 20 times, until my mouth could move like theirs, smoothly and naturally. By day 15, I wasn't perfect, but I was fluent enough to survive, and most importantly, I was confident enough to continue. Then, phase 2 began, real conversation training. The goal was to make my brain fast, my sentences connected, and my confidence unshakable. I created a method called question-answer loop. It's simple but powerful. You ask a question, answer instantly, and expand each response naturally. What did you do today? I worked. Then, I worked on my project for 3 hours, then had coffee. Then, I worked on my project and learned something new. Every day I practiced for 30 minutes. Each round made me faster. Each sentence added new energy. I was rewiring my thinking in real time. But I still had one problem: fear of speaking to others. I could talk to myself easily, but real people made me nervous and self-conscious. So I faced it head on. I joined online English groups and spoke even when my hands trembled. The first time was terrifying, but freeing. People didn't laugh at my accent. They listened, encouraged, and shared their stories. I realized mistakes weren't shame, they were proof of effort. That realization changed everything. I stopped chasing perfection. I chased connection. Every mistake became a teacher instead of an enemy. Within 2 months, I was speaking fluently in online meetings. Confidence replaced fear. Progress became natural. English felt like my second identity. Then came month 3, the moment I started mastering not just language, but emotion. Because English fluency is more emotional than logical. When you're nervous, your brain blocks memory. When you relax, your mind opens. So before every session, I breathed deeply and said, "This is my moment." It worked. My voice sounded stronger, my pronunciation clearer, my energy higher. I wasn't just learning to speak, I was learning to perform. And for the first time, I understood grammar differently. It wasn't about rules, it was about rhythm, structure, and how real people express feeling. I stopped memorizing grammar rules and started observing patterns in real conversations, noticing how native speakers built sentences naturally and emotionally. They didn't think in terms of present perfect or past continuous. They spoke through rhythm, emotion, and intent. That's how real English lives. So I started listening differently. Instead of asking, "What rule is that?" I asked, "Why does this sound right?" That shift made everything click. Grammar stopped being fear. It became curiosity. Every mistake became a doorway to discovery. I was no longer a student, I was a scientist of language. By the end of month 3, I felt transformation happening. I could speak fast, understand accents, and express complex thoughts without losing rhythm. But I wanted more than fluency. I wanted mastery, that deep sense of control where your voice, thoughts, and confidence move as one. That's when I created my Think English challenge. Every morning, I trained my brain to describe the world entirely in English. The sky is bright, the street is noisy, my coffee smells amazing. I'm preparing for another beautiful day. Every line reprogrammed my mind. At first, it was slow, uncomfortable, even weird. But after 2 weeks, my brain started thinking in English automatically, without translation or effort. I also began journaling every night, writing about my day, my thoughts, my goals, not for grammar, but for clarity. It was self-reflection through language. When I reread my early entries, I noticed how my sentences grew longer, clearer, and more confident, proof that my system was working beautifully. By month 4, something unexpected happened. People started saying, "Jake, your English sounds so natural." That was the moment I knew I had changed. But fluency isn't only about speaking perfectly, it's about courage. The courage to express, to connect, and to stay calm even when you make mistakes. One day, I faced my biggest fear again. Another job interview, same company, same position, but now I was a different person inside and out. This time, I wasn't nervous. I smiled as the interview started. The questions came fast, but my answers came faster, clear, and full of energy. I made jokes. I told stories. I wasn't just speaking English, I was owning it. Every sentence felt like proof of who I had become. When the call ended, I knew I had done it. I didn't need their approval to feel successful. I had already won by mastering myself. A few days later, I got the message. "Congratulations, Jake, you got the job." I froze, speechless, my heart full of gratitude and disbelief. I called my parents immediately. My mother cried. My father said softly, "We always knew you could." And that sentence will stay with me forever. That day, I realized English hadn't just changed my career, it had changed my identity, my confidence, and my view of what's possible. It gave me voice, purpose, and global connection. It turned silence into strength and fear into freedom. That's the true power of learning English. After that moment, I wanted to understand why my system worked, not just for me, but for anyone willing to follow it seriously. I discovered something powerful. Language learning isn't luck, it's neuroscience. Your brain literally rewires itself with repetition and emotional engagement. Every time you repeat a sentence, you build a new neural path. Every time you speak confidently, you strengthen those connections permanently. That's why consistency matters more than talent. Fluency isn't about studying more, it's about showing up every day, even when you feel tired. So I built rules for myself. Short, simple, powerful rules that guided my learning and can guide yours too if you follow them daily. Rule 1. Mindset is everything. If you believe English is hard, your brain closes. If you believe it's simple, your brain opens and learns faster. Rule 2. Environment is your teacher. Change your phone language. Listen to English songs. Follow English content. Surround yourself with the sound. Rule 3. Speak without fear. Mistakes don't make you weak, they make you real. Perfection is the enemy of progress. Start now. Fix later. Rule 4. Listen actively, not passively. Don't just hear. Echo. Repeat. Feel the rhythm. Speak with your whole body and emotion. Rule 5. Learn vocabulary through context. Don't memorize words. Live them. Build stories. Create emotion. And your brain will never forget. Rule 6. Forget perfection. Remember consistency. 1 hour every day beats 5 hours once a week. Fluency is built by rhythm, not intensity. And Rule 7. Connect emotion with language. Speak with energy. Let your tone carry meaning. The more emotion you feel, the faster you remember. Those 7 truths became my foundation, a living system that anyone can use, no matter their country, age, or background, because fluency isn't just a goal, it's a mirror. The more you speak, the more you discover who you really are beneath your fears. English isn't about grammar or accent, it's about courage, clarity, and connection. It's the bridge between who you are and who you can become. I started learning to get a job, but I ended up discovering myself. That's what true learning does. It transforms your identity from the inside out. Now, when I look back, I don't just see 5 months of practice, I see 5 months of becoming the person I always wanted to be. The boy who once froze in silence now speaks confidently to people around the world, inspiring others to believe in their own potential. That's the real reward, not the job, not the money, but the freedom to express, to dream, and to live without limits. When people ask how I did it, I always say it wasn't magic or talent, it was mindset, emotion, and the discipline of daily small actions. Fluency grows from repetition, but transformation comes from belief. You can't speak confidently if you secretly believe you're not capable of learning. So every morning, I reprogrammed my thoughts. I told myself, English is power. I can learn fast. I am improving every single day. At first, it felt silly, but soon, those words shaped my actions. My brain started responding differently, more open, more focused, more alive. You see, your brain listens to your self-talk. Every I can't builds a wall. Every I can opens a door. Which one you choose decides your future. And that's the truth for everyone learning English. The real barrier isn't grammar, it's doubt. Once you remove doubt, learning accelerates naturally. I also learned something else. Motivation fades, but discipline stays. Some days I felt tired or uninspired, but I showed up anyway, even on bad days. I spoke for 10 minutes, wrote one paragraph, listened to one podcast, because consistency is stronger than mood. Small efforts compound. Each repetition adds to your momentum until English becomes not something you do, but something you are. That's the law of fluency. Identity first, results second. When you start seeing yourself as an English speaker, your progress doubles overnight. That's why I tell every learner, stop saying, I'm learning in English. Start saying, I'm an English speaker getting better every day. Words shape identity. By month 5, I wasn't forcing myself anymore. English had become natural, automatic, and even joyful. It wasn't study, it was self-expression. I could read without translating, listen without fear, and think directly in English. My thoughts flowed faster, my ideas clearer, my confidence unshakable. But here's the deeper truth I discovered. English didn't just change how I spoke, it changed how I lived. I became more curious, more open-minded, more connected to people from every culture. It expanded not just my skills, but my entire world. Because language isn't just communication, it's transformation. Every new word is a window into a new version of yourself waiting to be unlocked. And that's why your journey matters. You're not just memorizing words, you're building a new identity, one sentence at a time. You're teaching your brain to think bigger, to believe faster, to connect deeper. That's what true learning is, a rebirth through effort. So don't wait for motivation, don't wait for confidence. Start speaking, start listening, start failing forward. That's how growth actually happens. Every mistake is feedback. Every repetition is progress. Every word you say brings you closer to the person you're meant to become. Some days you'll feel slow. Some days you'll feel lost. But remember, even when you think nothing's changing, your brain is still growing quietly inside. That's the unseen magic of consistency. You plant effort today, and fluency blooms later, sometimes suddenly, sometimes softly, but always surely. When I finally became fluent, it wasn't a single day of victory. It was thousands of small invisible wins stacked together with faith and persistence. That's why I say fluency is built, not born. You don't find it, you forge it. Moment by moment, mistake by mistake, victory by victory. Now I help others see English not as a subject, but as a tool to unlock their power, purpose, and voice in this global world, because every learner carries the same potential I once had. The only question is, will you act on it? or let fear keep you silent. If you've ever felt stuck, remember, fluency is not about speaking perfectly, it's about daring to speak when you're not perfect yet. Perfection is a prison. Progress is freedom. Choose progress, and fluency will follow you naturally like a shadow. English is not your final destination. It's your passport to new opportunities, friendships, and a bigger life waiting just beyond your comfort zone. When you speak English, you're not just using words, you're expanding your identity, breaking mental limits, and proving that growth is possible. And that's why you must never give up. Because every time you speak, even imperfectly, you're building the strongest muscle in the world. Belief. Your accent doesn't define you. Your effort does. Your mistakes don't expose weakness. They reveal courage. Courage is how fluency is born. So start today. Speak to yourself. Record your voice. Join that class. Message that friend. The world won't wait for you to feel ready. There's no perfect time to begin. Only this moment, right now, where you decide to take your future into your own hands. Because the truth is, you already have everything you need. Your brain, your voice, and your determination are enough to change everything. When you commit, when you truly say, I will not quit, something inside you shifts. Fear loses power, and focus takes control. And from that moment on, your growth becomes unstoppable. You move from dreaming to doing, from doubting to believing, from silence to voice. That's the path to fluency, not the easiest, but the most rewarding one you'll ever walk. And one day, you'll thank yourself for starting. One morning, months after my journey began, I looked in the mirror and realized something powerful. I was no longer pretending to be fluent. I was fluent. The voice that once hesitated now spoke freely. The silence that once haunted me had turned into confidence that filled every word I said. I finally understood the truth. Fluency is not just about language. It's about freedom. The freedom to express, to connect, and to become limitless. Because when you change your words, you change your world. When you master English, you master your ability to open new doors everywhere you go. That's why I say English isn't your goal. It's your gateway, the key that unlocks opportunities, friendships, and dreams that used to feel unreachable. I started learning because I wanted a better job, but what I found was much bigger. I found a better version of myself. English taught me patience, focus, and resilience. It trained my brain to stay calm under pressure and my heart to stay strong under fear. It showed me that growth doesn't happen when life is easy. It happens when you stay consistent, even when life feels impossible. And that's why I want you to believe, if I could do it, so can you. I'm not special. I simply refuse to stop when it got hard. Every person watching this right now has the same power. You don't need perfect grammar or native accent. You need persistence and belief. Fluency isn't a miracle. It's momentum. It starts small, with one brave sentence, and grows with every word you dare to speak. So speak today. Even if it's broken, even if it's slow, because every imperfect sentence is better than perfect silence. Don't say one day, say day one. Don't wait for the right moment, create it. Start now, and let your consistency make miracles happen. Every podcast you listen to, every sentence you repeat, every mistake you make, they're all tiny steps carrying you closer to mastery. And one day, without even realizing it, you'll wake up thinking in English, dreaming in English, living in English. That's when you'll smile and say, I did it. Because English fluency isn't just about communication, it's about confidence, identity, and the unstoppable belief that you can reinvent yourself anytime. That's what this journey gave me. It wasn't about words on a page. It was about writing a new story for my life with courage and clarity. When I failed that first interview, I thought I had lost everything. But in truth, that failure was the beginning of my transformation. Your pain can become your power if you let it teach you instead of break you. Every setback carries a message from your stronger self. The difference between failure and success is simple. One gives up, the other grows. Growth isn't easy, but it's always worth the effort. When you push through boredom, doubt, and fear, you train your mind to become unshakable. That's the real lesson English gave me, not just to speak fluently, but to live boldly, to face fear, to stand tall, and to keep improving long after motivation disappears. Because motivation is what starts you, but identity is what keeps you going. You don't need to feel inspired every day. You need to feel responsible. The moment you take responsibility to learn, to practice, to persist, that's the moment everything begins to change forever. Your accent will improve. Your vocabulary will grow, your confidence will expand, but most importantly, your belief will become unbreakable, and that belief will carry you not just in English, but in everything you do. Because once you prove you can learn one hard thing, you can learn anything. That's the real secret of English fluency. It's not just about speaking another language, it's about becoming another version of yourself. So wherever you are right now, promise yourself this: I will not quit, I will speak, I will grow, I will make English my superpower. Because your future self is waiting, confident, fluent, and free, cheering for you from the other side of fear. Start now. Speak louder. Believe deeper. Don't let fear speak louder than your dreams. You have everything you need to begin today. English is more than a skill. It's your story, your mirror, your proof that you are capable of becoming extraordinary through simple, consistent action. So go ahead, start your next sentence, start your next day, start your next chapter. The power is already in your voice. And when you finally speak fluently, remember, it was never about English. It was always about who you became along the way. If this message inspired you, share it, subscribe, and keep going. Because your journey to fluency doesn't start someday. It starts right now. Let's begin.